Hello and welcome to another installment of Fantasy Failures. As always, I'm your host, Nick Cruikshank. We are joined with very biased power ranker, Cam Backstrom, and mediocre fantasy guru, Justin Gellerman.
Not mediocre.
On today's docket, we will get to recapping last week, check in on the injury report, David Compton's pick of the week, and vote on magic or tragic.
Yes, we will.
So it's pretty simple. Week 4 shall be henceforth known as the week the NFL caught the injury bug.
That's why I'm wearing black.
Oh, for a funeral?
For the funeral. Of all the injured players that have affected fantasy owners, I am sorry.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Moving on, the biggest player I was concerned about obviously was Chris Carson. So before I start crying again, Justin, why don't you take us through what happened last week?
Well, the one that's dear to my heart is Dalvin Cook, torn ACL. He's gone. Marcus Mariota has some hamstring problems. Derek Carr just destroyed his back. So those are 3 big names right away, big fantasy implications too, especially 2 quarterbacks that were producing a lot of big numbers so far this year. So those are some names to watch out for in the future because those are guys now you're going to have to replace.
So Dalvin Cook, also, I feel you. I have him in my league, and Jagel's a Vikings fan, so it affects me just
sorry,
as hard. Okay, it hurts just as much. My biggest one is Julio Jones. He has a hip problem. He's had a back issue, so kind of lingering injuries. The Falcons need him because Matt Ryan does not look like the MVP he was last year.
Losing at home to the Bills.
He needs that weapon. Well, the Bills are good, but
still at home.
They barely put up 20 points, so that's not good.
I mean, and that's been a problem with the NFC over the past couple of years. Teams will be really, really good.
It's that follow-up season.
Yeah,
they have the Super Bowl hangover.
They're just terrible.
Or the playoff hangover,
Meanwhile, the Patriots and Tom Brady drinks his charcoal-infused water or whatever, and they just have no problem.
Well, not this year.
Not this year. Their defense
is a different
looks
story.
Atrocious.
I agree, but Brady is still Brady.
Brady's still Brady.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of these guys will be fine, but these are a lot of injuries that...
These are big.
These aren't just minor injuries. These are missing multiple weeks. I mean, Derek Carr, 2 to 6 weeks. I mean, even though we talked about the Raiders, they aren't kind of what the hype thought they were going to be. I mean, that's still a good chunk of the season. It's going to put their playoff hopes at risk.
Especially in that division, too. The Broncos are pretty good. The Chiefs are the only undefeated team left, so who knows? I think the Raiders have a tough time coming back to that.
I'm hyped.
Faith in E.J. Manuel. Faith in E.J. Manuel.
Faith in E.J. Wow. It's the only time I've ever
Florida
heard
State,
that
stand up.
Okay. So, with all that being said, a lot of injuries, let's take a look at how they all affected the power rankings. As always, Cam sits up late Sunday night, so usually about, I'd say maybe what, 10:30, maybe 11.
Later than that. I
He goes hard for him.
For the power rankings.
I don't believe it.
I live for my power rankings.
And he comes in Monday, and they're still not done. And then finally, by the time we tape later in the week,
you know what's always done is the #1 spot. Then he works down from there. So.
Oh, all right.
I start from the bottom actually, but now we're here.
All right. Number 10.
Number 10, Alfredo. Oh, Alfredo. He is on tattoo watch.
New tattoo watch.
He is. Now, to be fair, there are a ton of 1 and 3 people in this league. But Alfredo's at the bottom. He was previously number 7. The reason being is because the bye week blues. Drew Brees is on bye.
Yeah.
And
nice alliteration. Bye week blues.
The bye week blues.
I like it.
It's a good one. Thank you. I trademarked that. And Julio Jones, as we said, is hurt, also on bye. These are like the only 2 people on his team that are like giving him life. Next week, he's gonna lose. I mean, honestly, there's no hope around it.
Right away.
His only hope is Gronk. That's it.
Wow.
So good luck to Alfredo.
Okay.
Alfredo, I guess you heard it here first. Good luck. All right. Number 9.
Number 9 is Kyle Storms. He was previously 5. I played him this week. He had me sweating there for a little. I was down by 2 actually going into the Monday night game. I ended up winning by over 20 because Travis Kelce, you're the man.
Hashtag humble brag.
Ezekiel Elliott had 30. Mike Evans had 17. Wasn't enough. I've said it from the beginning, Kyle is not going to take less. I know that for certain.
He's like the team that should be good, but is never like getting all the points he should get.
Like the Raiders.
Much like the Raiders, exactly. And I was talking to him this morning. I feel like it's just kind of bad luck and just kind of questionable GM decisions on his part of who he's starting and who he's sitting.
Ooh, now he's calling you out as a GM, man.
That's some fighting words in fantasy football talk.
Mean.
To be fair, I told him, and I was playing him this week to start Tariq Cohen of the Bears over Ty Montgomery. He said no. He started Montgomery. He got hurt on the first quarter, I think, of that Packers game and put up 2.8 points. So just decisions like that, I think, could make the difference.
Well, you can't predict injuries, though.
No. And
I would have started Cohen.
And I mean, you're not Nostradamus over here.
I would have started Cohen.
I would have started Ty Montgomery still, because you wouldn't know that he's going to get.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's you can't predict the injury.
Hey, but that's why I'm 4-0 and you're whatever you are.
Unbelievable.
All right, number 8.
Number 8 is Armando. He hasn't changed from number 8. He had a decent outing. He put up like 85.
In a 1 PPR league.
In full PPR. It's pretty bad. However, I was looking at his schedule. There was no such thing as a bye for him. He has pretty much planned out trades and waiver wire pickups so that he does not have bad bye weeks, which is huge.
Not to interrupt you, he was actually colluding with Kyle
earlier
outside.
This morning.
They're talking about trading their entire teams to each other, which it does happen. I will bring them here and beat them mercilessly.
And veto all those trades because you're the league manager. You are Roger. Well, with that being said, Armando's 8. He has a decent matchup this upcoming week, but as I said, my power rankings, he has CJ Anderson, Melvin Gordon, Montgomery. Pretty decent trio of running backs there.
They need to perform, though, for him.
Exactly, exactly. So good for him.
Number 7.
Number 7, Nick Vieira. He was previously 9.
He's coming back.
He's coming back, sort of. I moved him up because he had a really good outing, 127 points.
That's pretty good fantasy numbers, yeah.
It's pretty good fantasy numbers. However, the minor setback is he lost Derek Carr. So now this is his second big injury on his team between David Johnson and Derek Carr. I'm not too worried, though, because there have been rumors that David Johnson will be back by week 10, which is still the regular season for us.
Yeah, no, it technically is. At that time, it'll help pull him through the playoffs. So you're right. He shouldn't be too worried yet.
It's still early. I mean, that's kind of my.
Only 4 weeks in the season.
Yeah, exactly. It's still early. He has Fournette, who put up 25. Stephon Diggs put up 15. We obviously know they can put up numbers every single week, so I'm not too worried.
He has like a dangerous team that you kind of want to look out for.
1 week it'll blow up.
Yeah.
Next week.
Very boomer bust.
All right. Number 6.
Number 6, Jeff. Holy cow. Did Jeff come back? 155 points. Le'Veon Bell, 35. Finally like
decided
a
to do something.
First rounder. He had 39 touches and I think over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Rodgers, of course, had a great game, 23 fantasy points. Tevin Coleman, the backup for the Falcons, had 18. The whole team looked great, and he actually beat Nick by over 25 points. So,
but will he do that every week?
Scary thought, though, to see what he can do for his team.
I mean, remember,
boomer bust.
Very beginning though of the season, I had Jeff ranked at 1. It's taken a few weeks to get there, but I think Bell and Rodgers and so on are finally starting to heat up.
This is when teams in the NFL start getting their groove together and start taking off, whether they're going to be a good team or a bad team. So you start seeing those players play a lot better.
All right, number 5.
Number 5.
It's your boy,
Crookshank here. He's 2-2. He was previously number 6. A great day from Jameis Winston, 26 points. Keenan Allen didn't tear his ACL. He had 19. That's always good. And a grand total of 118 points. Shady's doing just fine.
It was pretty good. I feel good. I feel all right.
I would feel good too.
I mean, I've got some problems with Kyle Rudolph as my tight end. I'm probably going to drop him because he's effectively useless.
That's a Vikings thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. All right, number 4.
Number 4 is your boy here. I moved myself down a spot purely because...
How noble of you.
How noble. And here's why. Because obviously we talked about Dalvin Cook, but I play David Compton this week, and I have 5 people on bye. I've been trying to make some trades, some waiver wire pickups to account for that.
You are going to run straight into Compton.
I am not excited about this, but I have hope. Travis Kelce, Marcus Mariota, even though he has a hamstring injury, I've heard he's going to play. AJ Green's going to be fine. We'll see, but I'm not too confident.
Look, Custard had hope too. So
that's not good.
It's good to have it. But
that's not good.
All right, number 3.
Number 3. Speaking of the man, David Compton.
El Presidente.
El Presidente. I dropped him from 1 to 3. Part of me wanted to keep him at 1 for the curse because he lost this past week.
So we've moved somebody else to number 1?
Unfortunately. David's team is looking just fine. Jordan Howard, Lamar Miller. Antonio Brown had 7 points last week against the Ravens, my wonderful defense. Who knows what he's going to do this week against the Jags. Again, I'm not too excited to play David this week.
No. So, all right, number 2, your boy Big Baller.
Oh, my God. This one is the most annoying on this list, is Chaz. He was previously 4. He put up 130 points, though. You cannot argue with that.
No, he's got a great team.
Freeman, Hopkins, and Jordy Nelson went absolutely off.
Yeah.
I mean, they combined for over, I believe, 65 points just between those 3 people.
Dang.
Russell Wilson had another 25. I mean, woo! Good for Chaz.
I'm okay with that, baby.
As much as I hate to admit it, he did a really good job. Looking ahead, though, to week 5, he does have Devontae Freeman on bye, which has been kind of his consistent anchor.
That's pretty big.
That's a big deal.
It's been his
RB1 on bye.
Main guy every week, so we'll see how that affects him going in week 5.
And finally, number 1.
Number 1, yeah, it's Justin.
I vote no.
Which is absolutely awful. You can't argue, he's 4-0.
Because he won't shut up.
He put up 103 points between Odell, Gurley, and Hunt. It's been terrorizing. And Gurley is acting like low-key an MVP.
No, he is.
Throwing it out there.
But they play the Seahawks this week, so...
Well, they do play the Seahawks relatively well at home every time.
Oh, no, the Rams always somehow find a way to beat this.
I think the Rams are the best team in that division right now.
No, they are. I completely agree. However, they don't have Captain 8-8, Jeff Fisher anymore, who used to live for literally 2 things. 1, not making the playoffs so he didn't have to work in January, and 2, beating the Seahawks twice a year. I feel all right, but anyways, your team is very good.
Thank you.
You're having a great season. I hope somebody tears their ACL.
Those are my power rankings.
Sounds pretty good. Let's go to the waiver wire.
All right, my waiver wire pick first. Surprising pick, Robbie Anderson, wide receiver from the Jets.
I submitted a claim for him this morning.
95 yards and 59 yards in his past 2 games. However, big play threat.
Yes.
So he's become one of Josh McCown's favorite receivers going down the field. They play Cleveland. Cleveland, we saw that secondary just get torched by Andy Dalton. I like Robbie Anderson in kind of a spot start if you need one of those kind of wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 flex guys. He's good because he's probably gonna get some catches for sure. Maybe he's gonna get a big play, especially against that Browns secondary.
I completely agree. I have Devontae Adams, and I mean, as of right now, we don't.
Wow, what a dirty hit that Bears guy did!
Terrible.
Unbelievable.
That was awful. And as we don't know right now what Devontae's situation is, I actually submitted a waiver wire for Robbie this morning. So fingers crossed. All right. I actually have 2 waiver wire picks, and I think you'll recognize them. Jerick McKinnon or Latavius Murray. As we know, Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Do you moment are you good?
I do. I'm good.
All right. Look at these 2 to kind of help split up the duties. They're only combined together, owned in 25% of leagues. So they'll be good pickups. I don't know if you want to handcuff them, but grab one or the other. If you do need kind of an RB2 for just 1 week, they will be all right. And maybe down the season.
See how they gel in that offense first.
That's a big
whether who's going to get used more, Jerick McKinnon or Latavius Murray.
Exactly.
You never
grab
know.
them both and stash them, and that way you'll win.
Mine is Will Fuller. He came back from his collarbone injury in spectacular fashion.
Yeah,
4 catches for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last year, he was kind of the wide receiver 2 behind Hopkins. This year, Deshaun Watson just used him. Again, same thing. I think he's going to be a great pickup. He's only owned in, I believe, 22% of all leagues.
Offense, man. 57 points in a divisional game.
Yeah, that's insane.
Deshaun Watson's a real deal.
We will get to the Deshaun Watson hype train.
Will Fuller, if he's out there in your leagues, go get this guy because I think he's honestly a solid wide receiver 2 or flex, especially during, again, these bye weeks, 5 and 10 that have a lot of teams on byes.
There you have it. Like you said, injuries broke most of everybody's fantasy week and his power rankings. But there's about a 2.8% chance our waiver wire picks will help you. I can't promise
Worth the
anything.
risk.
Hey, you never know until you try. All right, coming up after the break, we'll go to our cornerstone, Magic or Tragic. We will recap and reload on our new studs versus duds. And later, David Compton's pick of the week. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Las Vegas is home to Tabletop Championships in October. The Unrivaled Tournament Series conquers the Strip with hundreds of players competing in 6 games. Ascension, King of Tokyo, Munchkin, Nevermore, Epic Spell Wars 2, and Villagers and Villains. All for the chance to win part of the $250,000 prize pool. It all takes place on October 28th in the Jubilee Theater starting at 5 o'clock. Join us in person or watch us live at Oomba.tv and check out Unrivaled.com for a full schedule of events. Looking forward to seeing you there.
So, Magic or Tragic, we pick a few players. We each decide whether we think each week they're going to be Magic or Tragic. First on the firing line this week, OBJ.
OBJ, I think he's going to have an absolutely great day. They play the Chargers in New York. He had a great week last week. I think he goes for 80 yards at least and a touchdown this week. Start him. Magic.
All right. I disagree. I think he's tragic. I've been an OBJ fan for a while. However, last season's drama, including Boatgate, also, if y'all remember the boat picture, they haven't won a game since the boat picture was taken.
Boatgate. That's what we're calling it. Okay.
I mean, he's kind of whiny. He's always been a little prima donna.
He's so good.
Their offense is very mediocre right now, and I don't think you'll get that standard awesome OBJ production. Maybe just 4 catches for like 45, 60 yards. Again, I think he's tragic.
I'm saying Magic. He's starting to find that chemistry with Eli Manning. We know when Eli gets into sticky situations, he loves to force the ball. OBJ has the talent to catch those balls. However, he has a sore finger. I don't see that as a factor because they're playing the Chargers secondary, and the Chargers defense has not looked good all year.
All right, next up, Melvin Gordon. Tragic, and I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, I have a feeling you guys are going to go Magic, so I just like to pick opposite of you because I think it makes more compelling television. And the other thing, they play the Giants this week. After the loss last week, a few of the Giants left very upset and pissed off. I think JPP and company, I think they bring it to the Chargers who haven't had a good year, and I think they just smother him.
Well, it's almost like you read my script or something, but I am going Magic. These are 2 0-4 teams. Just as you said, the defense is going to come out. I think the offense is going to come out. I think Melvin Gordon's going to have a great day, at least 18 fantasy points. I'm thinking 100 yards, maybe a touchdown or something. But start him. He's gonna be really good this week. Magic.
Cam, what'd you say?
Oh, Magic.
Melvin Gordon is magic for me. I think this offense is going to start feeding him the ball more. Philip Rivers, I think they're going to go away from the pass just because those receivers are not making plays. Philip Rivers is making some poor decisions. Feed him the ball. I think he's going to break a couple touchdown runs, perhaps. We'll see. That Giants defense is susceptible to big runs, so.
There you go.
Magic for Melvin Gordon.
All right. Next on the line, Shady. So he had a decent week against the Falcons. I think he's back. Also, he's on my team, so I gotta hope for him. I'm gonna say Magic. I think he goes for 75, 80 yards, maybe a TD against the Bengals.
I think he's Magic as well. I think we saw the old Shady last week against the Falcons. I think that offense is clicking right now. They finally found that groove with Tyrod Taylor, finding Charles Clay up the middle, and also handing the ball off to LeSean McCoy. The Bills team is kind of a dangerous team to watch. I really like them. I say LeSean McCoy's Magic.
I completely agree with you guys. Magic for Shady. The Bills are a scary team. Right now, they're currently leading the AFC East. They play the Bengals this week. I think he goes for at least 20 and a touchdown. He's a pass-catching back. We know what he's capable of. Good stuff for Shady owners, a.k.a. this guy.
And finally, last but not least, Andy Dalton. So I got an interesting stat for you guys. You guys ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
All right. First of all, the Red Rocket lives.
Oh,
all right. He's back with no thanks to Captain Mediocre Marvin Lewis. At the start of the season with their old OC, Dalton was 36 for 66 for 394 yards, 0 TDs, 4 picks, and a passer rating of 47. After they fired their OC, currently he's 46 for 57 for 498 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks, and a PR of 38-15. Dalton is back. He's Magic, and he is primed for his standard wild card or divisional, depending on seeding, playoff loss.
Wow. Well, I'm going to completely disagree. He's going to be tragic. The Bills' defense is legit. Here's why. If Matt Ryan can only throw a touchdown and 2 picks against the Bills, what the hell is Andy Dalton going to do? He's going to get absolutely destroyed by the Bills. Their pass rush is phenomenal. Their run game is at best. You have Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard. I think he's tragic. I think he's going to go for maybe 210 yards, a touchdown. I'm going to say 2 picks and a fumble. Wow. Seriously.
I think tragic as well. That front 7 for the Bills creates a lot of pressure against the opposing quarterbacks. We saw that against Matt Ryan. I think they're going to have to hand the ball off if they're going to win. I don't see Andy Dalton doing what he did against the Browns. The Bills are just a better team.
Well, we will see. There was Magic Tragic for this week. So I know we opened the show on the theme of injuries, but we're going to shift gears now, and we're going to go to Cam, who's going to give us a little more in-depth on the injury report.
Yes, the injury report. We talked about this at the start of the show, recapping week 4, but some major injuries across the board. Dalvin Cook, the Vikings running back, towards ACL. He is out for the season. Marcus Mariota and Derek Carr, 2 quarterbacks. Derek Carr went down for a back injury. He's out 2 to 6 weeks. And Marcus Mariota had a hamstring injury in that blowout loss against the Houston Texans. He's still day-to-day, but he will most likely play on Sunday. Michael Crabtree had a chest injury, did not play Week 4. He is still questionable and day-to-day for Week 5. Of course, Davante Adams, if you watched the Thursday night game against the Bears, had that dirty hit. He was taken to the hospital for a head and neck injury. He was later released, but there is no timetable for his return, so we're going to assume at least a month there. And of course, Julio Jones, a back and hip injury, and then Chris Carson, the Seattle running back, had a broken ankle. He is most likely done for the season, but his status is still to be determined. So a lot of huge injuries, guys. Hopefully Week 5 will be a little bit better.
Yeah, and I mean, Chris Carson, there's hope he might be back for the end of the season. I mean, I don't believe it. Also, Cliff Averill, Seattle Seahawks defensive end, is really hurt. Had a pretty bad thing with his head and neck as well, so he's out indefinitely. What about you?
Brutal stuff.
Injuries, just they happen.
Part of the game.
Unfortunate. I mean, this is a fantasy football show, so we talk about the fantasy football implications. But at the end of the day, these are guys' livelihood. These are their jobs. This is team that means more than just fantasy football. So we hope they all get better or they recover fully at the end of the season.
Alrighty. Stud or dud, let's do this. So, last week, I was right about Brandon Cooks. He sucked. He ended up with 3 catches for 38, 7.2 fantasy points.
That's a classic Patriot wideout, right? Boom, 1 week, and then terrible the next.
And I don't know what his deal is. He was just awful.
Yeah, my stud from last week was Todd Gurley. Man, was I right. He went haywire. Almost 200 yards combined, rushing and receiving. 35 fantasy points. Like I said at the top of the show, he's acting like that rookie MVP that we saw.
Yeah.
Of course, the year I don't draft him.
I love him. I'm so high on him, and Rams are killing it, 3-1.
Yes, they are.
They could win the NFC West.
All right, my stud for Week 5 is Mike Evans. He has been on a tear this year, averaging 17.9 fantasy points per game. This week, they play the Patriots. And normally that would be bad.
Not this year.
However, they play the Patriot defense.
Oh, man.
Mike Evans is going to go nuts, and James Winston is going to go nuts. I would not be shocked if Mike Evans gets close to something like 150, 2 touchdowns, and like 25 points.
Woo! All right.
But
that's feasible.
That's
100% feasible.
If Devin Funchess could get 2 touchdowns and 90 yards, what can Mike Evans do? All right, well, my stud for Week 5 is going to be Leonard Fournette. Why? Well, a number of reasons. 1, he's a good rookie running back. He dropped 25 last week. But 2, the Steelers suck, and I don't like them. I think he's going to go for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think he's going to do great. So start this guy if you have him as a strong RB1.
My stud, going off with the Mike Evans pick, I'm going Jameis Winston.
My quarterback,
We talked about how Patriots defense isn't that good. Their secondary has so many miscommunications with their safeties and their corners. Jameis can find the holes in there. Also, Jameis is notoriously better at playing at home, and so is that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Patriots coming off a loss. It's going to be interesting to see. I like Jameis Winston against that defense.
God, a 2-3 Patriots. What world are we living in right now?
That would be something to see right now.
It would be.
The Buccaneers could beat them. And who says Thursday night games are bad? Buccaneers, Patriots. I'm excited.
No, this
is
actually going to be a phenomenal Thursday night game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm actually excited for this one. All right, so my dud, and this isn't a homer pick, Jimmy Graham. We've done it before.
Poor Jimmy.
I'll say it again. He's awful. He's dropping passes left and right. He caused a turnover. It hit him in the damn hands. And Jimmy's just like, poof, it's gone. I'm sick of it. I think he's terrible. Seahawks need to trade him immediately and recover some semblance of an offensive line.
Exactly. If you have Graham, drop him. There's a lot of good people I think on waivers you can pick up.
Agreed. All right, who's your dud?
My dud is going to be Keenan Allen. He's had a good year so far. He's notoriously known to get hurt. They played the Giants at New York. I think at most 12 points. The Chargers' pass game is just a little bit shaky
ruthless.
at best.
I mean, not ruthless. It's horrible.
Yeah. Okay. So
ruthlessly horrible.
I have
Philip Rivers.
You have Rivers. I mean, that's not good. I would have said shaky at best, but ruthless also works. Ruthlessly bad.
Yes.
That's what I meant. So if you have him, I consider starting him, but that's kind of risky. If you ask me, I would bench him this week.
My dad, I had someone else written down, but I think I'm going to piggyback off your Jimmy Graham.
Are we going double
Tight ends to me,
Jimmy Graham.
Tight ends to me have to be safety blankets in fantasy, especially in a PPR. you need 5 receptions as a tight end. Just don't even need to have big games. You just need to move the chains. Jimmy Graham rarely gets 2 receptions. He's not a factor in that offense.
He's not. I don't know if it's Bevel's fault.
And it's kind of alarming as fantasy owners when you see the old Jimmy Graham and what he put up numbers even in his first year with the Seahawks and when he was with the Saints. Now he's not doing anything and he's dropping passes. As a tight end, you can't do that. So that's my dud. Maybe not for just now, but maybe for the rest of the year.
That's strong.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
That's spicy.
Hot take.
That is.
I love it.
Really spicy. I mean, Jimmy should be a tight end 1, but he's just not. And I mean, it's over. I think at this point, I don't know if it's Bevel.
His best years are behind him.
There's time, but there's other players in that offense that are becoming more factors for Russell Wilson.
So sorry, Jimmy. Your seaplane and minor basketball skills will not save you here. After this short break, you can hear our fantasy picks of the week, Justin and Cam's fantasy matchups of the week. Cam and I will continue to go head-to-head on our little pick'em.
Yes, we will.
And David Compton's pick of the week is coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Las Vegas is home to Tabletop Championships in October. The Unrivaled Tournament Series conquers the Strip with hundreds of players competing in 6 games. Ascension, King of Tokyo, Munchkin, Nevermore, Epic Spell Wars 2, and Villagers and Villains. All for the chance to win part of the $250,000 prize pool. It all takes place on October 28th in the Jubilee Theater starting at 5 o'clock. Join us in person or watch us live at Oomba.tv and check out Unrivaled.com for a full schedule of events. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Hello, and coming up in just a few moments is David Compton's pick of the week. But first, let's go to your guys' fantasy matchups of the week. Justin, kick it off.
I'm going to go Jeff versus you.
Wow.
Jeff put up a bunch of points last week. I'm interested to see if he puts it up again. And you're sitting at 2-2, so this could be kind of a make or break kind of week for you.
You really think this will make or break me if I go?
I think there's a lot of teams that are 1-3, and there's a lot of teams that are 2-2.
Okay.
And there's a huge jump from the 3-1s to the 2-2 and the 1-3s.
Exactly.
So I think if you lose, it kind of puts you in a spot where maybe other players are going to take off with wins. If you do win, though, however, you're 3-2 and you're right in the thick of the top 4. So I think this is a big week for you.
Who do you think wins?
I think Jeff wins.
Right there.
All right, Cam.
Mine is Nick versus Armando. Matthew Stafford versus Derek Carr, and the Derek Carr isn't playing, which is interesting because now it's Matthew Stafford versus question mark. Right now, Nick Vieira has no backup. Does he get Watson? Does he get Carson Wentz? Who knows? It's also a good run game battle between DeMarco Murray and Leonard Fournette. And as I said earlier, the battle of the random waiver wire tight ends, Charles Clay and Evan Ingram, respectively. I think that Armando's going to get this win just purely because I think Nick just had a really good week last week and just trying to get a quarterback and all that stuff, fix some holes. I don't think he comes up short.
All right.
That's just me.
I agree with that. All right, so like your guys' matchup picks of the week, even though you didn't pick me, I hope I prove you wrong.
It happens.
Nah, you're right. But no, for our fantasy player of the week, it's funny you brought up Deshaun Watson because that is mine. All right. Let the record show I started the hype train at the start of our season.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You did.
Did I not? After getting into an old-fashioned shootout with Brady, and then he put up 4 touchdowns and rushed for 1 against the Titans. He's the only player to do that since Fran Tarkenton. This kid has got it. He is on. He's going to become a next staple in your fantasy quarterbacks. He can rush. He can throw. He's got all the intangibles. He's doing it. Grab him. He will. I honestly think he's going to take the Texans to the playoffs.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
That division isn't that great.
That's right.
Exactly.
AFC South.
So I like. Well, their defense is also the best defense in that division.
But no, Deshaun Watson, again, very high on him. He got into the show with Brady against the traffic cones. So, seriously, pick this guy up. Stash him next season. He will be one of the top quarterbacks drafted, I believe.
Wow, I love it. I love the bold move.
I like it.
I love it, man. Right now, Nick Saban throws on a Texans game, and he starts withering in agony from the PTSD from the Clemson game.
Sorry, Alabama lost. Well, mine is going to be Jordy Nelson against Dallas. Last week, he had 2 touchdowns against the Bears. We saw what Jared Goff and Todd Gurley did last week. What is Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson going to do this week? If everyone has him, start him with confidence. 22 fantasy points. money.
For me, I think the quarterback that's going to put up the most points this week is going to be Aaron Rodgers. And
bold
you
move.
may say that's bold, but he hasn't done that yet this week or this season. So he faces the Cowboys secondary. They just got lit up by Jared Goff. I look for Aaron Rodgers to put up a monster amount of points, even though I want the Packers to lose. Even though I want the Packers to lose, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to put up a lot of points because I don't think the Cowboys secondary is that good.
No.
And they're starting to see some flaws. We're starting to see some flaws with that Cowboys defense right now.
I actually like all of our picks.
They're all going to do really well this week, honestly.
I really believe that. All right, so let's move on to Cam and I's little head-to-head.
Someone's calling me. I'm good, guys. I can get out of this one.
Thank you.
All right,
Go ahead. All right, so we're tied again, aren't we? Yes, we are. We're both 8-12.
Woo! I did it.
A losing record. Nice.
So I'll kick it off. I'm picking Jeff over myself. Kind of like Justin said, I think his team has more players down the line. Devontae Adams is out for me. Like I said, I'm already looking at a new tight end. I've got a little bit of work to do, but I just have a bad feeling Jeff kind of takes me this week.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you. Jeff, I think Le'Veon Bell and Fournette both kind of great games, respectively, since it's Patriots, Steelers. Again, we talked about Rodgers. I think Jeff has all the tools and weapons needed to win, and I think he moves up to 2-3.
Alrighty. So, you versus David?
Oh, boy.
I got to pick David.
This is brutal.
Can't pick against him. His team's too good. Your team is good on paper as well. But David,
on paper, I am 3-1. I will have you know.
But David, you're about to be 3-2. David's gonna go to 4-1. He's gonna run away with it.
Brutal.
And it is what it is.
Yeah, you're probably right. David has Tom Brady, Jordan Howard, Lamar Miller, Antonio Brown. I mean, it's like on paper, it is insanely
much
stacked.
Star power.
Yeah, I truly think that Tom Brady's gonna have a really good day. Even though they may lose the game, I think Tom Brady, fantasy-wise, is gonna put at least 24. I don't know if I can counter that. I think David wins.
All right, Vieira. I will take Nick Vieira versus Armando. I will take Vieira over Armando.
Oh, okay.
I think this is the week.
All right.
I think even though Armando's working on some collusion, I think Nick Vieira's team just pulls through.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you. I think Armando has it. As I talked about a little bit earlier, I think DeMarco Murray is gonna have a really good game. Especially if Marcus Mariota does play, they're gonna feed the ball to Murray and Derrick Henry. I think Armando's got it by a small margin, though.
Oh, alrighty. Chaz versus Alfredo.
Oh boy.
I gotta go with the big baller brand, and it kills me. Alfredo, you're new on the Tattoo Watch.
Alfredo.
Chaz is gonna crush you this week, bro. Don't even be close.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Chaz is gonna absolutely body Alfredo. Oh yeah. Plus, like I said earlier, Julio and Drew Brees, his only two good players on his team are on bye. He's gonna need like 50 out of Gronk in order to try and win this game, which isn't gonna happen. Sorry, Alfredo.
Completely agree. All right, and last but not least, if you wanna weasel your way back over here.
Oh, God.
I will take Justin Gillerman over Kyle, and I'm pissed about it, but he's going to keep winning.
Ezekiel Elliott dropped 50.
He's going to keep winning, and I'm sorry, I hate it.
I don't hate it.
I mean, you agree, right? He's going to win.
I'm gonna look right at this camera here. Yes, Justin is going to sadly win. But much like the Vikings last year started off 5-0, it only takes a few bad weeks, and you don't make the playoffs.
Or a half a season for the Vikings.
There you go.
Haters gonna hate.
Jago will win.
Haters gonna hate.
What did you finish, 8-8 last year after starting 5-1?
Yeah, but everything went really bad. We got so many injuries.
Much like fantasy.
Well. All right, come back next week. You can see how we did. Hopefully he might have finally lost.
Oh, please.
So we'll go to David Compton's pick of the week right now. Last week, he actually hit the nail on the head with Eli Manning.
27 fantasy points.
Yeah, great pick.
They still lost. Classic Giants, 0-4. But fantasy-wise, really good.
Great pick. So, Compton, talk to us.
Dude, why are you back? My boy is trending up, okay? 27 fantasy points. What more do you need me to tell you? Oh, and McAdoo, there are two guys, Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa, that get to the quarterback. So run some hot routes. Get that ball out of our boy's hands. It's a reason he didn't go to San Diego. He didn't want to be 0-4.
Well, I guess if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
Nope.
I'm sorry to see a trend here, possibly. A couple weeks in now, all Eli Manning.
Theoretically, it's not a bad pick. Eli is the only Giants offensive player with a rushing touchdown right now.
There you go.
That's
a big shout out to you, Paul Perkins.
Yeah. All right. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at UmbaFF. Questions, comments, concerns. We'll get to it. As always, I'm Nick.
I'm Cam.
I'm Justin.
May your team never be a failure. Thanks. Good night.